You're welcome to the world of English. This morning we got a lady from the UK. Her name is Claire Hickson. She's basically a tourist, and on my request she is here to record some videos. And for your benefit, I am going to ask you some questions, and please pay attention to how she expresses her ideas using idioms, phrases, the collocations she uses, and then some peculiar expressions, and also focus on her body language, whether she is radiating confidence or not. So you have to learn a lot from this British lady, because they speak English and it is their native language. Okay. Now I would like to ask you questions, ma'am. A few simple questions.
Of course.
Would you please tell me something about your family?
My family. I am married. So Spencer and I have been married for 20 years, and we have 3 children together. We have our eldest daughter is 18 years old, and our second daughter is 16 years old, and our son is 12 years old. So that's my immediate family, and we are very, very close. And then we have Spencer's parents and my parents, and so our wider family is also really, really important to us, so that we are all connected and close, and that the children have a very good relationship with their grandparents.
Excuse me, what do you mean by wider family?
So I think of myself and my husband and our children as immediate family. This is an English expression.
Right, okay.
It's our immediate family. And then the next is the wider family. So the grandparents, the uncles, the cousins.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, wider family.
Okay, ma'am. There is a next question. These are all generally asked in IELTS speaking in the part 1 introduction. What do you like doing most with your family?
Well, we live in just outside the city of Oxford, and we live in a very small village in the countryside. So it's quiet and there's a lot of nature, open spaces. So we really like to go on long walks in the countryside to get fresh air. We have 2 dogs, so we need to go walking every day. So we like to spend time together doing those natural things.
I see. Mm-hmm.
But also we go to the cinema, we sometimes go to restaurants to eat at the weekends. And many things, traveling, visits.
Okay, I have another question. That in what way is your family important to you?
Oh, well, my family are everything. They are the pinnacle of my life, the top priority. So they are everything, and they are my ultimate purpose in life.
Right, okay. How often do you see your friends?
I have many friends. Some are local, and I see those people, I would say, every week, once or twice a week, just locally. And then I have many friends around the world, and we connect online, digitally.
That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. In what ways have families changed in the last 100 years?
That's a good question.
Right.
So in the UK, we were once very similar to how things are here in India.
Right, okay.
Where families were much closer, and the elder grandparents would once have lived with the parents and the grandchildren. So everybody would have been in the same house, or they may have been on the same street, or at least in the same village. But over the decades, things have become very different, and now families are much more separated.
I see.
So you would be lucky if the grandparents lived very close to the grandchildren. Many people live in different cities and towns, which is creating maybe too much space between families. So for parents of children, it's more pressure because of less support. So people are having to pay a lot of money for childcare, things like nurseries.
Right. Yep.
It's very expensive. So the fact that some families are close, but I think in general, things have divided a little.
And I have another question that the elderly are sometimes considered the wisest members of society. What do you think we can learn from them?
An endless amount that we can learn from the eldest. They have the benefit of a longer stretch of time through many different changes. So we can learn and also remember, because I think it's very easy to forget sometimes how things were before, because things are moving very fast now, especially with the internet. And older people, the older generation, didn't have all of this technology. So
Electronic gadgets, right.
So I think they have so much wisdom to offer because they are much more present.
Okay.
They are not distracted by all of these things. So we have a huge amount to learn from the older generation.
You're right, I could visit Greece and Italy. These people always the elderly sit outside the restaurants. They keep on talking.
Yes.
No mobile, nothing,
Yes. But in the UK, it's sad because there's so much dementia and Alzheimer's. It's getting more and more and more. So when somebody gets too unwell to live at home, then they end up in a residential care home.
Right.
And sadly, that's lonely. Maybe people aren't visiting them enough.
In their old age homes.
Yeah. And then the younger generations are forgetting that those people have a lot to offer. That they're lonely in care homes.
Now we come to, what do you do to keep yourself fit?
I like to ride a bike. So I have a racer bike. It's quite sporty.
Bike means cycle.
Yeah, I cycle. A bicycle. Mine is a racer bike, which means it's more sporty. So the handles are curled. And then you have special shoes that you click into the pedals.
Right.
So I do a lot of riding out on the roads to keep myself fit. I do a lot of walking.
And also you go for this bike race?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I have cycled London to Paris in 3 days.
That was about 300 kilometers.
Yeah, so we did about 90 miles a day.
Oh, during night you were taking rest?
Yeah, then we rested, slept, start again.
How many people will be gathering for this type of races?
That one was about 120 females raising money for breast cancer.
Oh, I see. It
So
was a
we
bit of
all
purpose.
cycled.
I see.
It was spectacular because we all cycled into the area of the Eiffel Tower all together.
Really?
Yeah. So I have a picture
Raising
of me.
money, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Raising money means, what would you say? To participate in that you have to pay some money? To participate?
You have to raise money, you have to generate money for the charity.
No, that means how it will be linked to bike race. Because to register in that one, you have to pay some money.
Yes, you do, yeah. So I paid a fee to actually take part in the challenge. But I also had to raise a lot of money from all of my friends and family. I did certain activities to generate money. And I think we raised between us, my friend and I, £7,000.
Really?
For the breast cancer charity.
I see. Right. And when you approach them, they are generally friendly, these
For
people?
the money?
Yep.
Yes.
I see.
We actually approached people who were willing to donate prizes. And then we did an auction. You know what an auction is? Yeah. And we sold those prizes to people who bought them. So that raised the money.
I see. Right.
But yeah, I walk a lot and I swim and I practice yoga. So that's
What's your favorite sport?
swimming.
Okay.
Is where I feel most comfortable. I feel very, very comfortable in the water, but then also yoga, my practice of yoga.
Yoga? Why are you fascinated by yoga?
Because as soon as I began a regular practice of yoga, it had a very deep effect on my mind and my body and my spirit.
I see.
So it woke something in me. Yeah, it got me more connected to myself.
Okay, what are the best ways to keep fit?
Walking. Because there's so much space, we have so much countryside, and it's we have something called public footpaths. So most of our countryside is owned by farmers, so it's farmland. But the government have always allowed for people to walk through the farmland.
Okay.
So we have little green signs that show you where the path is.
Oh.
And it will say public footpath, public bridle way for horses, that way. And then you just keep following the arrows and it takes you around the edges of fields. But you can walk for miles and we call it rambling.
Oh, I see.
And groups of people will be called ramblers. But that's the best exercise because it doesn't put pressure on your joints.
I see.
But it's very good for you.
How can we encourage young people to stay healthy?
Well, I think healthy is a big word, but what comes to mind immediately for me is encouraging them to take time away from the screen. So young people are spending a lot of time on their screens, on their devices, and it has an effect on your mental health. Because the light that comes from the screen, it's overstimulating your brain. So most children are staring at their screen, scrolling, just before they go to bed.
Okay, that is not good for the eyes or brain or something, but how can you say it affects mental health?
That's a bigger subject, but they are very influenced by what they're seeing on the social media. And then maybe that's making them feel that they're not good enough. Maybe it's making them compare themselves.
Right, okay.
You know, which has a detrimental effect.